G'day, and today I'm going to talk about a Westwood Studios game called The Legends of Kyrandia, assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now, this game is very reminiscent of the King's Quest series. It's basically the exact same type of game, as in it is a kind of fantasy world, but it's very, very friendly. Beautiful fairy tale-like stories with very pleasant characters. I mean, there's bad guys, obviously, but in the same way that King's Quest is really accessible to all ages who just enjoy really fun, pretty stories. This is in the exact same vein. Now, much to my surprise, when I went back to play this game, I really didn't like it. And that kind of shocked me because I loved this game when I played it originally, when it was first released. I played all three. The second game is far superior to all the other games though, and that is still very good. But this first game really has some terrible game design choices. And unfortunately, because they're all sequels, a lot of these choices are continued through the entire series. So what you're looking at here is this one puzzle, which is one of the two mega problem puzzles in this game, where you have to find a certain amount of gems and put them on this altar. And the thing is, the order of the gems you put them on the altar is completely random. There is no way to figure that out. And every time you fail, the gem is destroyed. And the gems themselves are randomly found throughout the game world. So you find these gems by just walking around the screens. Even if you've explored them a million times, eventually they'll just pop up. So you've got to go find the gems, come back to the platform, test them. Oops, you've destroyed them. That's what all that saving loading is. So I don't find the same gems. Look at this. Look how many gems I've got at the end here, right? It's just ridiculous. Now, the other thing you might have noticed while watching that gem fiasco is that you only have 10 inventory slots, which means that if your inventory fills up, you have to put the items down, and the game world remembers where you've placed them, kind of like an RPG. So you can place objects anywhere and pick them up. But what this ends up being, of course, is that you have to juggle objects because you can't carry everything you actually need to solve the quests. So you have to work out storage places to dump all your stuff so you've got enough bag space to go somewhere else. And of course you always figure out, oh, I needed that item, and you've got to go all the way back to the other side of the game world. Oh man, like, I'm torn between my nostalgia of this game, which I really did enjoy as a kid, and I'm just getting angry even thinking about the time I spent playing this damn thing. But I'm not done yet, because the thing is, not only does it have the gem puzzle and it has the inventory problem, it's also got one of the dreaded old school mazes in it. And it's a huge maze. It just goes on forever, and you have to walk all the way through this back and forth, and you know, once you find a location, you've got to remember where it is and go there again. Plus, you die all the time until you work out the puzzle of how not to die in the maze, which until you do, obviously you're going to keep dying, and that's really frustrating. And I don't usually do this, but I would strongly recommend looking up the internet and finding a map of this place. It would just save you the headache. There's also a potion puzzle, which is quite similar to the original gem puzzle, as in you need gems to make the potions. And of course, once you use the gem to make a potion, whether you succeed or fail, you have to find another gem. Then if you screw up the puzzle, then you have to remake all your potions and get all the ingredients again. And that's really frustrating, but it's particularly frustrating because the gems are random, so you don't know where to look for them, you just gotta wander around. And to top it off, there's a game block, as in, if you do not have a certain item when you leave the island by turning into the Pegasus, as you see here, then the game is over. There's nothing you can do to get back and find that item. Still, the bizarre thing about this playthrough was that even with all these horrendous problems, and there were horrendous problems with this game, this is like the first game that I'm saying don't play it. I mean, this is a bad game. But even so, in the same way that King's Quest V is a really bad, in inverted commas, game, people still really love it because of the setting and just the way the game is. And it's the same with this game. it is just so enjoyable, the story and the world it's in. I mean, it's just so nice. These really beautiful, friendly characters, everyone's so happy and polite. Such a friendly family game, and that feeling is extremely good, and I really enjoyed that part of it. And the story and that side of adventure games is really what I prefer. That's what I look for in adventure games, is enjoyable story and good characters, and this game does have that. So while I would never recommend this game to anybody, like ever, especially after this playthrough, I mean, I used to love this game as a kid, but it's just shocking how much I couldn't believe how bad it was when I played it again. But even so, I mean, if you've played 1,000,001 adventure games, then you may find that playing this one through just to experience the world and the characters is still an enjoyable experience, though I would strongly suggest using an FAQ to get through the maze and just being very conscious about those gems. Just make sure that every time you try and use a gem, you've saved just beforehand. Well, for those of you that have emailed me and said, why don't you review a game that you're not completely head over heels in love with, fate seems to have chosen this game. While I thought I was head over heels in love with it back when I was a kid, turns out it's crap. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there's actually 2 mazes.